Hello everyone, this is Jnaneshwar Saram Indrala from CSC department, roll number 21951805552, and this is my Python programming PowerPoint presentation. Subject code ACSC01 to AAT Tech Talk, and my topic is Python simple GI calculator using techtalk. Topics I cover in this video: Introduction, what is Python, what is graphical user interface GUI, what libraries are there in Python, what is techtalk, which widgets are there in techtalk, and how to use them, a basic Python project, that is a GUI calculator using techtalk. Let's start. Introduction. In this video, we are going to learn deeply about one of the most widely used Python library called techtalk toolkit interface, pronounced as techtalk. We are going to develop a mini project, that is GUI calculator using techtalk. For that, we should know some basics about it, like what is GUI, why should people use them, what libraries are available to us for developing a GUI program, and how to use techtalk. At the end of the video, we are going to acquire some basic knowledge about GUI programming. Hope you understand better. Let's start. What is Python? Basically, Python is an interpreted high-level general-purpose programming language. Its design philosophy emphasizes code readability and its use of specific indentation. Its language construct as well as its object-oriented approach aim to help programmers write clear, logical code for small and large-scale projects, and we can use Python libraries to develop GUI programs. What is graphical user interface? A GUI. GUI is a desktop app which helps to interact with computers. For example, a text editor, games, apps, and social media like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Why we need GUI? A graphical user interface is a type of user interface that allow user to interact with electronic devices through graphical icons and visual indicators. So we will use GUI for a betterment of understanding. Python libraries for GUI. The following libraries are available in Python to develop GUI programs, that are Kiwi, PyQt, WXPython, and tkinter, and Pygame, etc. So, what is a tkinter? Tkinter is a Python binding to the tk toolkit. It is standard Python interface to the tk toolkit and is Python's de facto understanding GUI. The tkinter is included with standard GNU or Linux, Microsoft, Windows, and Mac OS installs of Python. Tkinter is a free software released under Python license and can be easily developed used by the developer. Tkinter in Python GUI programming is a standard Python GUI library. It gives us an object-oriented interface to the tk GUI toolkit. Fundamentals of Tkinter. To develop a calculator, a GUI calculator, you should know some basics of the Tkinter, like what is Tkinter, what are the widgets available in Tkinter, and how to use them, what is the syntax for using the widgets, and what are the types of classes of the widgets are available in the Tkinter library, and how to use them, and how to write functions, and some basic knowledge we should know, so that here I'm mentioning and writing some of the codes to understand better. So what are Tkinter widgets? Tkinter, here are some kinds of Tkinter widgets. That is, first widget is or window widget. To add any widget, we should have a window, and is that window will come by using window widget. And here is the syntax to get a window. First, we should write import tkinter, because by importing a tkinter module only, we are able to write our tkinter codes, and we should define our window. That is, window is equals to tkinter dot tk. Boom, tkinter window is came in the right side. To add any label, the following widget will be used, that is label widget. You can set the label font so that you can make it bigger and maybe bold or italic or underline by according to your use or need. And the syntax for the label is, first we should define a variable, that is L1 is equals to label, and here label means the label class of window. Window means the window we have designed earlier, and the text is the text we should display on the window, and we can specify the fonts. Here I am using Arial bold, comma, I am using 50 size is equal to 50 pixels, and arranging it on the window, that is column is equals to 0, comma row is equals to 0. We can set the default window size using geometry function, like window dot geometry, comma 350 into 200, and this 350 into 200 are the lines that sets the window width to 350 pixels and the height to 200 pixels. And next, the entry widget. In the previous Python GA example, we saw how to add simple widget, like how to add a window and how to add the label and how to reset the window size. Now let's try getting the user input using tkinter entry class, that is tkinter text box. And the syntax is, first we should define an variable followed by equals to and followed by the entry. Here the entry is entry class of window, comma width. We can specify the width, and then the position of the entry box, and followed by some functions. Here is the output of the following code, and this is the entry box. Next, the button widget. Let's add some buttons and the events of the button when it's clicked and first we will write the functions that we need to execute, then the button is clicked. For example, we should define a function, namely clicked, by writing def clicked parentheses and followed by l1.configure of text is equals to button was clicked, and this will print on the our shell. And now I am creating a button, that is pt is equals to button of window comma text is equals to enter command is equals to clicked, and that's clicked we defined earlier. So when we click that, the following function will return. And next, but let's start by adding button to our window. And to add the button, we should specify the position of the button by grid pt.grid of column is equals to 1, row is equals to 0, and this 1 and 0 replaced by any integer according to the need and the position of the button. We can change the color of the button and the font of the button according to our use. Here I am giving background color of the button is orange and foreground color of the button is red, and the position is same as earlier. Next, check button widget. You all are aware of some buttons, some types of buttons, that is check button, radio button, etc. Here is how to add check button we will see in this slide. To create a check button widget, you can use check button class, and the syntax goes here like this. Check state is equal to Boolean variable by check state dot set is equal to 2. These two lines is for creating a variable of type Boolean var. Its var is equals to variable, which is not a standard Python library. It's a techtalk variable. And then check is equals to check button, comma window, comma text is equals to select, comma var is equals to check state. Passing the check state to the check button class to set the check state. Then we can specify the position of the check button by grid method by specifying the column comma row. Here I am giving 0 comma 0. Here is the output. Next, radio button widget. To add radio buttons, simply you can use radio button class. You should set the value of the every radio button with different value, otherwise they don't work and the error will occur, like value 1, value 2, value 3, etc. And the syntax goes like this. Variable is equals to variable name sum, namely rad1 is equals to radio button of window, comma text is equals to python, comma value is equals to 1. And we should specify the alignment of the radio button in the window, like rad1 is equals to grid of column is equals to 0, comma row is equals to 0. Here the output goes like this. Next, spinbox widget. To create a spinbox widget, you can use the spinbox class, like spin is equals to spin is a variable, and that is equals to spinbox. Spinbox is a class of window, is a window we defined earlier, comma from is equals to 0, 2 is equals to 100, and this from and to are ranges that are in spinbox, comma width is equals to 5. and this width is size of the box, and the output of the spin box is on the right side. And the next slide is scroller text widget. To add scroll text widget, you can use the scroll text class from techtalk import scroll text. Text is equals to scroll text dot scroll text, and the second scroll text is here is our class scroll text class, and the window is the window defined earlier, and width is equals to width of the scroll text, and the height is equals to height of the scroll text. Here we specify the width and the height of the scroll text widget, otherwise it will fill the entire window. And next is combo box widget. Combo box widgets are very easy to use and are widely used as well. For example, and syntax goes like this: from techtalk.tk import star, and star will import everything from the techtalk module. Combo is equal to combo box of window. Window is the window we defined earlier. Comma values, we should set the values, comma values that are 1 2 3 4 5 comma text, and combo.curve is equals to 3, set in the selected item, and combo.grid. Grid is a method that uses it for placing combo box in a window and defining its position, and the output goes like this. You can notice the text variable as printed as text in the end of below the file. And the next is message box widget. You can show a message box using techtalk. You can use message box library for showing that message box, and the syntax goes like this: from techtalk import message box. First we should import the message box, then we can write message box dot show info message title comma message content. Like this. Here the message box is binded to the button, like, and defining a clicker function here, like message box dot show info of message title comma message box, and creating a button and adding the function to binding the function to the button. When the button is clicked, the show message box will show a message as follows, and the output is like this. Next, adding images and icons to techtalk. Images can be added using photo image method. Then binding functions in techtalk. Calling functions whenever an event occurs referring to a binding function. The syntax is import techtalk. Windows is equals to techtalk.tk. Window is equals to techtalk. Title of GUI. Here we are creating a function called say hi. Def say hi parenthesis. Inside the function we will write techtalk dot label of window comma text is equals to hi dot pack, followed by techtalk dot button, and here we are creating a button, window comma text is equals to click me, command is equals to say hi, and giving a command that is defined earlier, dot pack, and place it in the window dot main loop. That main loop will will run the code. And the next is geometry management in techinter. All techinter widgets will have geometry measurements. Geometry manager classes are three types: pack, grid, and place. Firstly, pack. It organizes the widgets in the block, which means it occupies the entire available width. Second, grid. It organizes the widgets in the table like structure. Third, place. It is used to place the widget at the specified position you want. If you use pack, it will add defaultly by down. If you use grid method, it will add sleeves, like we can specify the position, that's row is equals to column, like that. And next, event handling in techinter. Events: mouse move, mouse over, clicking, scrolling, and some events, etc. Mouse buttons: button 1, button 2, button 3, left click, right click, and middle click, etc. Next, adding widgets to our application. A widget is an element of the graphical user interface GUI that displays information or provides a specific way of user to interact with the operating system or an application. That is label, button, entry, combo box, checkbox, radio, radio box, radio button, and check button, and scroll text, spin box, menu bar, notebook, etc. Organizing layouts and widgets. Organizing layouts and widgets. We use frame class to arrange layout in widget that are two. Frame. Frame Frame is used to create divisions in the window that can align the frame as you like with side parameters of back method. Button is used to create a button in the window. It takes several parameters like text, value of the button, color of the text, BG, background color, and FG, foreground color. Organizing layouts and widgets. Sample login box. Here is a sample login box and example for a grid. Grid is another way of organizing the widgets. It can use the matrix row and column concepts like the box below. And use case of techinter. We can use techinter in many methods. Here we will see how to use techinter to develop a mini project, that is GUI calculator, a simple calculator using techinter. Let's start coding for the GUI calculator. The first line we should start is importing the module, that is from techinter import star, and this will import all the methods, all the classes are there in techinter. Define the techinter library. Next, here we should define a function, that is click function. When we click a button, the following code will return, that is op. Op is a variable. Op is equals to op dot string of num, ip text dot set op. And next, evaluate function. To defining a valid function that will use the code for equals to. And when we write an expression, this is a calculator. So when you click on equals to symbol, this the following function will return. And this is the defining a clear display function for clearing the expression of the previous one we entered. When the calculation is over, we can clear the display, and that is clear the enter box, and we can use it once again and again and again by this function. When we press the C on the calculator, the following syntax of the clear display function will run and clears the display. Initializing cal window and setting the name as Serum calculator. Initializing OP we have used in above code. Here creating an entry box. The following code goes like this: IP text is equals to string var, IP area is equals to entry of calls. Calls is a window name, comma font. Font is large font. A font name is large font. Size is 15 and bold. We can add something like italic, underline, like anything, and etc. as per as our need. Next, defining all buttons and the functions using lambda keyword. Lambda is same as like define. Here button 7, button 8, button 9, and add that 3 buttons are in one row. So we are defining one by one, and our pack manager, our grid manager will set the all 4 are in one row, and the columns are 0, 1, 2, 3, and the second 4 are buttons are button 4 or button 5, button 6, and subtract button are in second row. That will grid manager will be doing row is equals to 2 and the column is equals to 0, 1, 2, 3, and the third row will go for button 1, button 2, button 3, and multiply button, and the grid is go for row is equals to 3 and column is equals to 0, 1, 2, 3 respectively. And button 0, button C, equivalent and division buttons are in the fourth row. So in the grid manager, the row is equals to 4 and the column is equals to 0, 1, 2, 3 respectively. Here is the code that is displayed. And finally, cal.main loop. The last line main loop tells Python to run the techtalk event loop. This method listens for event such as button clicks or key presses and blocks in any code that comes after it from running until the window is called or on its closure. So it is important to write the last line calls.main loop. Boom, here is our output of the code. Here I calculate a simple calculation that 100 into 10. When we press on the equivalent symbol, the output is 1000. Our code was successfully executed. Let's recall what we have learned. What is Python? What is graphical user interface? What libraries are there in Python to develop a graphical user interface? What is a techtalk? Which widgets are there in techtalk and how to use them? And at last, we designed a basic Python project and basic Python GUI calculator using techtalk. Hope you understand better. Thank you.